Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Wake Up with Ray G. It is Friday, August 20th. We have made it. Another week in the books, man. 2021 is just flying by. Like, it is cruising past. It's our first full week of doing the show. Well, actually, we didn't do it on Monday. But Jordan, how are you feeling today, my friend? Another week in the books. We had some preseason action last night. How you feeling, big dog?
I'm feeling great, bro. You know, it's interesting to see all the way these games kind of just pan out. And so for me, I'm just excited to see finally like some starters. You know, I was looking up a lot of reports from coaches and beat reporters, trying to get as much information as I could to see who we're going to see this weekend, who we're not going to see. Unfortunately, these coaches like to, do their own thing and not tell the media what's going on. But from what I'm seeing so far, we're going to see a lot of players, a lot of starting quarterbacks. So I'm really excited for that. A few guys won't play, of course. Always happens every year. But we're going to see a little bit more closer to that NFL action we've been craving, and we saw a little bit of it last night.
Yo, I just want to tell you, man, your lighting is fantastic. You look really good. I just put you on you look really good. Like, I'm shiny as hell. It's bright in here. It's hot. You look good, man. Like, you are.
I gotta thank that Canon C-Log, baby.
What is it?
It's my Canon C-Log. I think it's C-Log 1 or C-Log 2.
You look good, man.
Camera.
You look good. I like that mauve pink type shirt. I'm digging your vibe today, baby. You look good. I just want to tell you, look good, play good, feel good. But real quick, before we get into like the show, I saw the NBA 2K rankings came out, and we're just gonna have a quick debate because it's not NBA season yet. But Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, LeBron James, and Giannis were tied for the best overall players in the game. So, of course, that's an indication that they think they're the four best players in the world. Do you agree that there should have been a four-way tie at the top of the NBA 2K rankings with Giannis, Bron, Steph, and KD? And if you don't agree, what would your short order of four be with those players in the NBA? Because I thought it was interesting that they tied all four of those guys.
I do not agree with that. I think Giannis is the clear runaway 99. And you know how I feel about Giannis. I don't think Giannis is like the best player in the NBA by any stretch. But it's pretty disrespectful for him to be the same rating as KD in some ways. Like, I'm cool with Giannis being 99, and then you have Steph 98, LeBron maybe 98, 97, and then KD 98. Just Kate, like, come on. It's Giannis just won the championship, MVP, like, went off. Give him that 99, and it's not like Madden where there's 99s like across the board because of positions, all these things. Like, I think Giannis is deserving to be the clear-cut 99, and then I'm cool with KD being 98. Like, they don't really matter that much in the game. All the players are like disgustingly good in real life and in 2K, but I think Giannis does deserve to be that clear 99 personally.
Yeah, for me, it's KD. KD should be a 99. It should be Kevin Durant, followed by Giannis at 98, LeBron at 98, and probably I'd put Steph 98, 97. But to me, the best player on the face of the planet is Kevin Durant. If KD's foot was a half an inch shorter, we're talking about probably the Brooklyn Nets as the NBA champs and not the Milwaukee Bucks. I just think he's the greatest player on the planet, the most prolific scorer in NBA history. He's lethal, the sniper, easy money sniper. KD needed that 99, man. I just wanted to touch on that real quick, have a little fun on a Friday, but I think it's time we dive into last night's preseason action and get into the morning run.
Wake up! This is the morning run.
Run, Forrest, run!
All right, so last night we had the Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots kick off, the preseason action for week 2, and everybody was excited. Like, we were buzzing, we were ready because it was Jalen Hurts, Cam Newton, Mac Jones, DeVonta Smith. Is Jalen Reagor going to put together a good performance after all these highlight reel catches in practice? What were the Patriots going to do? How long were the starters going to play? And it sort of was a letdown, man. I don't know about you. I think there were a lot of good moments, and we'll dive into some of those in a second. But the anticipation and the hype, I think we were expecting, especially from the Philadelphia side, with Jalen Hurts kind of dueling off against Cam Newton and Mac Jones. We did not get that. Instead, we got Joe Flacco, and he didn't look good. But, it's a quarterback battle, and we watched Joe Flacco do his thing. My overall takeaways from the game last night, man, I really, really, really thought that Cam Newton looked sharp. You know what I mean? Cam Newton came out super sharp, was polished early. There was a play, I think it may have been the second pass of the game, where he drove the ball, I think like 20-something yards, 30 yards downfield on a rope to Jacoby Myers, just showing that cannon, that arm strength that he still has when he's pushing the ball downfield. He was poised. I believe he went 8 for 9 in the game, had that touchdown. Jacoby Myers did a lot of the work, but Cam Newton gets credited for he threw a touchdown pass. I'm not taking anything away from him. I thought Cam looked really, really freaking good last night, man. And before we get into anybody else, I just want to start with him because my take on this entire situation, y'all know that I have been higher than most everybody on Alabama quarterback Mac Jones. There aren't very many people out there who thought he would be worth a damn, get drafted high, or would be playing as well as he's playing. But in my opinion, like if Cam Newton is healthy and Cam Newton is playing like he played last night, now no limited sample size, only a couple of opportunities, but if he's healthy and he's on, he deserves to be the starting quarterback. Like he should be, and I don't think that's an indictment on Mac Jones. I actually think that's a good thing for Mac Jones to be able to just continue to grow, continue to learn in that offense, to see real NFL speed against these top defenders and learn from, by all accounts, man, like Cam knows this is Mac's job. He knows this is Mac Jones' job sooner rather than later, and at least publicly. And Cam just strikes me as a dude that real recognizes real. Like he's a real ass dude that he's doing everything to help Mac Jones, not hinder him. He's fostering and nurturing that relationship. He's saying all the right things. He's cheering his teammates on when he's on. Like, you have to love Cam Newton, and I do. I mean, he was one of the most exciting players in college football history, one of the most exciting players at that position that we've ever seen at the NFL. The combination of size, rushing ability, just his fun, the energy that he brings to the game. I know we all remember that play versus Green Bay where Clay Matthews was calling out a play and Cam Newton said, "You've been watching film, well, watch this." And then he throws a touchdown pass to Christian McCaffrey. You love Cam. So for me, if he's healthy, if he's playing like he played last night, Cam Newton should and will be the starting quarterback for New England. The question is, how long? Because Mac Jones does look good, so I don't know how long of a leash Cam Newton is going to get, man. Where are you at with Cam Newton?
So I'm with you in the sense that he looked good. My only issue is that I haven't seen him make all the throws. And so the biggest critique of Cam is that he's really working between the numbers and even sometimes between the hashes. You see him hit Jacoby Myers basically right up the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Then you look at, he can hit a few, like what I saw from him a lot was hitting a lot of dig routes, some in routes, some kind of slants, crossers, but nothing to the sideline as much, nothing really over the middle of like deep down the field. I saw Mac Jones throw it about 50, probably 45, 50 yards on a rope to N'Keal Harry, and he dropped it. Ultimately ended up, I think, separating his shoulder and was in a sling after the game. So that's where I just kind of struggle. And then on top of that, even seeing what Mac did in the pocket last night, I was like, damn, like I know that he can move in the pocket and he's a little bit quicker and faster than people will give him credit for. But we don't really see Cam doing that. Like Cam can run and he can move. But he's like a locomotive. He's got to get going a little bit every time he's in the pocket. Where Mac's really sliding, he's moving, he's using his feet. Smart quarterback. Still, again, it's against third stringers, second stringers, so I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock into it. But I did see a little bit of everything that I wanted to see from Mac. And basically now 2 weeks in a row, we've seen him throw a long bomb that, could be a long pass or touchdown. It was ultimately dropped. 13 for 19 for 146. He actually went 13 for 19 last game as well. No touchdowns this week, but 146 passing yards, much more encouraging. And if you guys were paying attention, if you watched the game yesterday, he went nuts in the third quarter. Pretty much, Bill just said, let's run this hurry-up offense, and Mac was just slinging it. Left sideline, right sideline, hash, stepping up into the pocket, slipping a defender. Like, it was crazy because he just got hot. Like, when you watched him in Alabama, he'd throw to his receivers, and then eventually Mac would get hot, and they would just start torching guys over and over and over and over and hurry up, and Najee Harris and whoever. It could have been Rhamondre Stevenson, J.J. Taylor. All those guys were just on fire. But that one drive from Mac, which I think was capped with a J.J. Taylor rushing touchdown, just phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Right.
Like, it was from start to finish, Mac looked controlled, poised, and had to make some really great plays in the pocket with his feet that I don't want to say I didn't expect, but he looked good to go, and he looked like he was more than comfortable in the pocket at that moment.
Yeah, and for me, man, that drive that you're talking about, right? The third quarter, I believe they opened up, like already kind of backed up towards their goal line, and then there was a penalty that pushed him back half the distance to the goal. So he was way back there, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, bro, if he throws a pick six down here, you know what I mean, towards the goal line, Twitter's going to go nuts. I think it was a 19-play drive that ate up almost 9 minutes in the third quarter that Mac Jones orchestrated to lead that team from literally, I think they were at the 4, maybe even 3 yard line.
Quarter. That was in the second quarter.
Was that the second quarter?
Like his first big drive from like the 4 yard line. Yeah. The first big play was to N'Keal Harry. It was about a 15-yard pass, but he drove them all the way. And I think it was capped by a Damian Harris touchdown.
Yeah, and like Warren Sharp actually tweeted out like Mac Jones's preseason drives, and they were all like 13 plays, 76 yards, touchdown. 11 plays, 82 yards, touchdown, punt. 14 plays, 67 yards, touchdown, punt. 18 plays, 98 yards, like he looked incredible, man. I can't stress how poised he looks. How comfortable he looks in the pocket, like his decision making. He should have had 2 touchdown passes, and it was interesting listening to Ross Tucker and the announcers talk about him saying that, oh my gosh, they're at the 2 yard line. It does him no good to run Sony Michel in the end zone. Let Mac Jones just throw it, see what they have. He's the future, man. He looks incredible. And I know a lot of people before the NFL draft were like, oh, he's a Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins clone. I think he's better than both of those quarterbacks. I think it's time to upgrade him. My boy Jared Wackerly from the Dynasty Nerds, he played Division I cornerback at Akron. He says Phillip Rivers. Like, he reminds him of Phillip Rivers, and I could see that. The offense just looked efficient. He looked comfortable, more than enough arm strength. I'm very excited about Mac Jones. And his current Rookie of the Year odds have actually dropped a little bit, plus 1,100. I got him for plus 1,500 a couple of weeks ago, and I know it's just a bet that he starts, he plays well, New England makes the playoffs, it puts him in contention to win that award. I think he's going to have to do a lot, but if he plays majority of the games this season, I think he's going to have as good a chance as anybody else to win that award. So let's talk about Rhamondre Stevenson, the New England Patriots. Some people say future starting running back. 15 carries, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 reception, 8 yards. He did have a pretty brutal fumble right in the middle of the field. Cannot do that. But listen, I've got to come on the screen because I just have to apologize to a lot of people, Jay. I got to apologize. I got you on. I've got to apologize to you because did you like Rhamondre a little bit? Was it you that liked Rhamondre, or am I confusing you with some other black guy?
So I will admit I wasn't the biggest fan, but what I did tell you a lot was that I loved the draft spot, like the way
you did.
That maybe you don't love the player, but you love the potential opportunity, because I wasn't in love with Damian Harris. Sony Michel, we know, isn't the greatest running back, so you never know, right? And he's got 4 touchdowns in 2 preseason games, so why wouldn't they use him on the goal line if something happens, or if he's been pretty good.
So I just have to apologize because Rhamondre Stevenson looks nothing like his Oklahoma self. Like, physically, there were reports that at the Senior Bowl, he dropped like 20 pounds. And I was still like, bullshit, I'm not buying it. And then I'm looking at him last night. And maybe it's because he's around players that are just bigger, but he looks even leaner and slimmer than he did when he was at the Senior Bowl in the footwork, the power, the explosiveness. I don't know if Damian Harris has that, man. Like, I talked to a couple of people last night that are like, that dude's going to be the starting running back for New England. If he doesn't push for it this season, it's going to be a damn good camp battle next year. He looked incredible, man. Like, this kid looks legit, and he sort of just feels like a Patriot, right? Hard-nosed guy. Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard him talk. Like, honestly, I don't think I've ever heard him say anything. Just comes in, does his job. I'm very, very excited about Rhamondre Stevenson. I don't know what our damn lines are on, or what his odds are for total yards. He might not even have any, but if you're in fantasy, you might want to get you some Rhamondre Stevenson. I'm digging and I'm feeling what he's laying down. Sony Michel, he made a cut last night that looked like he was stuck in damn mud. It was terrible. So I just had to say I apologize. I was wrong because I called him Rhamondre Stevenson, slug, snail, slow, stank, terrible, no thank you, day 3 draft capital. It's a wrap. I was wrong because he looks good. I am impressed. I'm feeling good about it. Did fumble, got to hold on to the ball. Probably going to get his ass chewed out by that mean-looking coach, Fears. But I think the ceiling and the sky is looking bright for Rhamondre Stevenson. So let's pivot. Anybody else you want to talk about from the Patriots side of the ball? Harry is injured. That's unfortunate for him. I don't think we saw any of the tight ends. Anybody else you want to talk about from New England side, Jay? Or are we good?
No, I just want to give J.J. Taylor a quick shout out for his spin cycle on the goal line. I forget who he did it to. I believe he's number 35 on the Eagles defense.
Yeah.
J.J. Taylor, I believe, had 90 yards and a touchdown. Like, he looked really good. And so if you just watch this Patriots offense now, in probably a year or two, we could see a Rhamondre Stevenson, J.J. Taylor, feature back, and then J.J. Taylor being the James White kind of replacement back. He can do that kind of stuff. He's great in the pass game, electric in the open field. I really liked what I saw. Again, it's against third stringers, so we can't go crazy about it. But I would love to see what Rhamondre and J.J. Taylor do against some of these higher caliber players, because I think they could do a pretty good job. So I just want to give J.J. Taylor a quick shout out. 90 yards and a touchdown. Kid played great.
Yeah, and also Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers is dope too. I think he's going to lead that team, man. I've been bullish on Jacoby Myers since 2019. He's worked his ass off. Think he deserves the opportunity. It's funny. Derek Brown from FTN said Cam dubbed that man can't get right. I think he's talking about Rhamondre Stevenson, but I like him, man. I'm excited for his future. So let's pivot to Philadelphia, man. Jalen Hurts, that's the lead, right? Jalen Hurts. Early, he's dancing around, he's vibing. Next thing you know, Joe Flacco's starting. They said he came down with the stomach bug. I don't know. I don't know. Why wouldn't they play him? Like, why would they lie, right? Like, my thing is, why? Unless it was an injury and they don't want to say it, and I think there are rules precluding that. But I guess it was the stomach, man. That's what I'm rolling with. I mean, sometimes when the shits hit you, man, there's nothing that you can really do about it. I've been there. Like, I've been in a situation where you're just like, yo, I need to go to a bathroom right now. Like, there's no time to waste. I don't care where it's at. Pull over at this gas station. I don't give a damn. It's either me or that toilet, and I'm going to choose the toilet. So if that's what Jalen Hurts was facing, then I get it, man. Go handle your thing. It's a preseason game. We'll catch you in preseason game 3. But it was sort of a letdown to not have Jalen Hurts on the field last night, especially with DeVonta Smith coming back from the knee injury. All of those Miles Sanders was playing. Just a little bit of a letdown that Jalen Hurts didn't play. What do you think?
Yeah, man, and I don't think it's that he didn't play. It was that I don't even think they announced it until after the game had already started, basically. Like, I didn't see it on the Eagles' Twitter until after 7:30 when the game was supposed to kick off. So that's kind of the worst part about it. And you saw him taking warm-ups, you saw him taking snaps, and all of a sudden he's just not playing. So everyone's kind of like, well, where's Jalen Hurts? And then, later on he comes out and says he had a stomach infection, blah, blah, whatever. But I'm going to pivot over to DeVonta Smith because he was getting a lot of hate really early in that game. He had a drop. He, didn't quite secure a catch. He didn't look overly comfortable. And then it took one play. DeVonta Smith totally dismantled, I think it was Michael Jackson on a slant route. And it was over after that. Like, he did, I believe, a little rocker step, came inside, wide open, cut up the field, probably got about 8 yards. Then came back, I think 3 or 4 plays later, boom, bang route, in and out, and he was dead open. Like, Flacco couldn't miss him.
Yeah.
It was just insane. But that alone, seeing that on every play, I'm looking at this guy's release every play. Is he getting jammed? Is he getting around the corner? What is he doing? I don't think he's going to be doing much blocking on the edge, which isn't great for the run game. But every play, no one can get a hand on him.
I don't care.
At all. It was just amazing to see him in that game action yesterday.
This was my entire like push for DeVonta Smith. Everybody was like, is he going to be able to beat the jam of NFL corners? Yes. Like, yes. He is, like, the way that he releases off of the line of scrimmage, his work with his hands, the suddenness. When he ran that whip route, most people, when you run a whip route, it takes you a little bit to throttle down to hit that outside cut. He was 2 feet in the ground, and he was right down the line to the sideline to catch that pass. Yes, he dropped that first pass over the middle, contested catch. The dude ain't played football in 2.5 weeks, right? He hasn't played football in 2.5 weeks. A little bit rusty. I'm not about to knock him. And it was a contested grab. The defensive back was all over his back, ripping through the ball. Great job by the defender. But every single time DeVonta Smith lined up, and what was interesting is they used him out wide at the X position, and they moved him into the slot, which it's going to be a problem. He was wide ass open. And on that 4th down play where Joe Flacco threw the ball to Jalen Reagor, if you rewatch the tape, the opposite side of the field, he was on the bottom of our TV screen. DeVonta Smith had dusted his cornerback off the line of scrimmage, and Flacco didn't even look that way. My big takeaway from that game, he is going to lead that team in receptions, receiving yards, and we'll see what they do in the red zone, but probably receiving touchdowns. I think he is the real deal. It does not take much to see, like, yo, that kid is different, man. And realistically, when you're watching him on the field, I know there's a bunch of funny practice pictures out there with him walking next to Jalen Hurts. And, I mean, he didn't look overly skinny. Like, he didn't look like he just was like Tutu Atwell looked small when he was out there. Rondale Moore, love him to death. He looked tiny. He looked little. Did Smith look so small to you that, man, he is just not going to make it? Like, he didn't look like that, did he?
No, he didn't at all. And you think about as well, he was being pressed on every single play. It wasn't like, they were testing him initially and then all of a sudden they kind of backed off. Every single play, you got to see, what is DeVonta Smith going to do? How is he going to beat this corner? And he was dismantling them almost every single play. It didn't matter what the hell they were doing, run, pass. He was always getting past the corner, and the corner could not stick with him. And it showed really quickly. He didn't always get the ball initially, but after that, he started getting the ball. He started making them look worse and worse as the game went on. And then the second half comes, and he takes off his pads, and you're like, no, he was just getting started. But that's just how preseason is, and he may play a bit next week. But honestly, at the end of the second, he was cooking, and I wanted to see more of him after that.
I think they're going to play. I mean, Hurts really hasn't played, man. Like, I think they're going to play a lot in the third game, or at least a half or a quarter of football with Jalen Hurts, with DeVonta Smith. What was interesting was Quez Watkins was not really involved. I think he got an end zone target, and I think they tried to hit him down the seam another play. But I like Quez Watkins. I think he's going to start. Travis Fulgham didn't even see the field in the first half. Greg Ward wasn't on the field in the first half. The 3 starting wide receivers were Jalen Reagor, DeVonta Smith, and Quez Watkins, with Fulgham and the other guys, Arcega-Whiteside, Greg Ward running with the 2s. It's going to funnel through DeVonta Smith. I think it's going to be DeVonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, and then Reagor with some plays here and there, Quez Watkins with some deep shots. But if there was any doubt, any hesitation, any reservation about DeVonta Smith being the one, I know there is a lot of enthusiasm. I'm trying to be nice on a Friday. Enthusiasm for Quez Watkins, wide receiver 1. Bro, like, cut the silly shit. It's not happening. He is not the wide receiver 1, and he probably isn't even the target number 2 option for Philadelphia. He's a good player. I think he's got a lot of talent, but there's a big difference between him and DeVonta Smith, because Smith is just as fast, and he's a better technician of the game. He's more productive in college, and he's going to be the target funnel for that offense. If they are going to succeed and fail off of DeVonta Smith. And I see somebody ask in the comments, thoughts on DeVonta Smith over 775. Go back to episode 1 or 2 of this show. We went through the entire Philadelphia Eagles team. At that point, I think the line was 749 for DeVonta Smith. We're smashing the over, but 775.5. I'm taking the over. That's a health bet. If he plays 16, 17 games, there's no way he finishes the season sub 775 yards. But anything else from the Philadelphia game that you want to touch on? Flacco. I thought Kenneth Gainwell looked really good. I think he's going to work his way into a role this season in this complimentary spot to Miles Sanders. We're already hearing Miles Sanders can't catch the damn ball at practice. Kenny Gainwell's looked really good in the games. He looks thick. He looks good. Anything else you want to touch on from the Philly game, Jay?
Can we just talk about how the Eagles got destroyed? Like, we're saying all these nice things about all these players, but the Eagles lost 35-0. Like, this wasn't a close game by any stretch. And it's so annoying because yesterday we're talking and we're like, okay, if Jalen Hurts plays and then we see Joe Flacco, like, this should be a pretty productive offense. It was like the first or second play of the game. The center snaps it like 20 yards past Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Then Flacco tries to throw it away, fumbles on the 10-yard line. Patriots pick it up, and the game was over after that. You know, the over bet was close. They got to 35. We had 38.5, and that was the bet I liked more so than the spread and the money line on Philly. And they didn't even hit that because Philly didn't have a kicker. Jake Elliott was hurt. It was just a disaster for all things J. Rich Betting Incorporated because this team just decided not to show up. Last week against the Steelers, they looked good, and maybe the Steelers just didn't give a shit about the game, and so they didn't really play that hard. This week, the Patriots come out. You hear the Eagles are dominating in practice. You see Jalen Reagor making one-handed catches. DeVonta Smith coming back. Jalen Hurts is ready to go. Oh, Jalen Hurts scratched. Joe Flacco looks like dog shit. And now all of a sudden, the Eagles are the worst team in the NFC East again. Like, what happened yesterday?
Yeah,
it's
they
crazy,
look bad.
But
we praised Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles for how prepared they came out versus Pittsburgh, and then they laid an absolute egg versus. I mean, they look bad. I think all those guys are playing again. They did not look good. Shout out to my man Garrett Price, man. Dynasty Garrett, Dynasty Nerds in the building, man. Jay Wack, Garrett Price, and my dogs, man. So we're excited, but we got some Friday matchups, man. We got more preseason games tonight that we need to get into. So where we going next, Jay?
Let's go to, I believe is in the desert or is in Kansas City? We got Kansas City versus Arizona.
No, we gotta do the intro, man. We gotta intro it. Where we at? Beat the Rush?
Beat the Rush, baby.
Let's
get
do
into
it,
Beat
man.
the Rush.
Let's do it.
Let's get into Beat the Rush.
Wake up! This is Beat the Rush.
All right, so yes, tonight we have like our marquee preseason matchup game tonight that I'm really excited for, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are excited about the Arizona Cardinals and Kansas City Chiefs. Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes. We did see Patrick Mahomes play a little bit, like one series in the first preseason game. You know, we expect him to play a little bit more. I don't know how much time Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill actually need. Maybe a couple of series. You know, I don't know. Kyler Murray, hopefully we get to see him on the field as well. I haven't heard anything either way about him or DeAndre Hopkins being in the game. But right now, Kansas City is favored -3. If you take Arizona on the money line, you can get +136 odds. Kansas City, not as good, -160 with an over-under of 41 points. They're expecting some scoring in this matchup. We've got Murray. We have Mahomes. We're probably going to see a healthy dose of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And you know we get to see our guy Rondale Moore play again. So what are you looking forward to in this matchup, Jay, with Kansas City and Arizona facing off?
I think you actually nailed it. I'm actually looking to see Rondale Moore. Like, if we do see Kyler Murray and Nuke Hopkins, how is Rondale Moore used? Because that will be the greatest indicator as to kind of what we can expect for the season, or at least somewhat. It's the closest thing we can have. Because last week, he was the only show in town. They had Chase Edmonds. They had a few other guys playing, but unless Kyler Murray and Nuke Hopkins are playing, we don't really know how he's going to be used in that offense. And then AJ Green, you know, I don't really expect to see much of him. He's always dealing with injuries, and so he doesn't really need to get in there as much. But if we do see Kyler and Nuke, I want to see how Rondale Moore is used. And then as well, how is he used with Chase Edmonds? Because Chase Edmonds looked pretty good last week too. He had a few plays that were nice. And so for me, that's kind of where I'm at. Where are you at with this game?
Yeah, and I forgot about Chase Edmonds, James Conner. I completely whiffed on those guys as well as AJ Green. You know, it's just to continue to see how that rushing attack for Kansas City looks. I'm really interested to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire. McCole Hardman, you know, the reports about McCole Hardman have been up and down.
Blowing
At one
again.
point, at one point he's the wide receiver 2. The next one he's dropping passes, it's tipping balls, it's throwing, getting intercepted in practice. So to see McCall Hardman, is he going to be a viable wide receiver 2 for Kansas City? If you're asking me, I think the reality is it's Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Those are the 3 pieces that you really want. You could take some deep shots on Hardman and Byron Pringle and all these other guys, but ultimately, between Tyreek and Travis Kelce, there's 50 damn % of your target share right there. I don't know how valuable the second wide receiver slot in Kansas City is. Now, there could be spike weeks, and that's the gamble that you take with a player like Hardman, even DeMarcus Robinson to a certain degree, like those spike weeks where they just go nuclear, they catch an 80-yard Mahomes touchdown bomb.
Yep.
They get involved in other ways, carry the ball, run for 40 yards, and then all of a sudden you scored a whole bunch of points. Your DFS lineup is looking good. It helps that team get in position to score. But just really want to see how much the big guns play. Kyler, don't really care about Mahomes, to be honest with you, but for the Kansas City side of the ball, Clyde Edwards-Helaire for me. But it's all about Arizona. I want to see Rondale Moore. I want to see more. I want more Rondale Moore, because what we saw from him versus the Dallas Cowboys, and I went back and watched that game, man, like he's just moving at warp speed. Like he's very, very fast. He's very explosive. And Arizona is very intentional with trying to get him the ball. It's not just the fact that he is fast. It's not just the fact that he is explosive. It's the fact that he is those 2 things in combination with Cliff Kingsbury designing plays to get him the ball. And, I don't know if his receiving yard total line has moved at all from that last game. But I remember us talking about that, and I believe the line was 545.5 receiving yards for Rondale.
You nailed it.
Is that what it is, 545.5?
Yep.
Man, I'm a professional bettor. I know these things, man. I am smashing, Jay, I'm smashing the over today, right now. I'm going to place a bet on this before tonight's game. I want to get this ticket in. Probably going to put 2 units on Rondale Moore, over 545.5. So make sure you check out ftnbets.com. You could check out all of our future bets, prop bets for all of the analysts and writers on staff. But I am going to get that locked in today, because I think that's free money. I don't know what the odds are now. I don't know if I'm getting plus or minus odds.
Minus 110. Or actually, the over is minus 120 on DK right now. If you go to 550, you get minus 111.
I'm fine with that. Anything in the 5s, I'm going over for Rondale Moore. Anything in the 5s, I'm going over for Moore. So what are you excited? Are you as bullish on Rondale Moore as I am, or are these just rose-colored glasses that I have on right now to go with the rose-colored hat?
Well, if you allow me for a minute to just play armchair offensive coordinator, can we please just get a Rondale Moore, Kyler Murray read option? Can we just figure out a way to make that happen? Could you imagine if he's just running a jet sweep and Kyler Murray has the option to hand it off to him or pull it and run? And then even if he does pull it and run, he can always throw it back to Rondale when he's running the other side of the field. I just want to see that happen. I just want to see them both on the field. And it's funny because I view them both as small players, but Kyler Murray would still tower over Rondale Moore. And so, but just the speed, the dynamism, the electric nature of both those guys on the field at the same time, I just want to see it happen. I just want to see it happen, and I want to see it happen today. And against Kansas City, and they have a pretty good front four, pretty good linebacking core too. So interested to see how that all plays out. But I would love to see those 2 guys just in the backfield and just doing crazy things. I think Cliff has a plan, and I just want to see some of it, but I doubt we see much as far as the preseason goes.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. So we've got Cincinnati and the Washington football team. I saw that they've narrowed down their renaming choices. It's got to be the Washington Red Wolves. The Red Wolves should be the name of the team. I think I saw another one. I think the Generals, the Admirals, the Presidents. There was something else. There was another one. Yeah, there was another one that was all right. But the Washington Red Wolves should be their team. I like that. And then you can have dope logos there. But they play against Cincinnati. No Joe Burrow in this one. Over under 35. The football team is favored by 5.5 in this one. You know, we get to see Jamar Chase. We get to see some T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. I'm not sure if Mixon is going to play. I think he played in the first game. So if he played in the first game, pretty sure he's going to play in this one. On the Washington side of the ball, more Fitzpatrick, Terry McLaurin. I don't know if Curtis Samuel is in this game yet or not, but Antonio Gibson probably plays quite a bit. And then the monster on the defensive side. Hey, I don't blame Cincinnati for pulling Joe Burrow in this one, because the last time Cincinnati and the football team played, Chase Young was on his ass. So I don't blame him. Like, hold him out. My thing with this, and I heard a lot of people talking about it, the Joe Burrow that we're going to see week 1 isn't going to be the same Joe Burrow that we see like week 8. I do think there's something to at least playing, like psychologically, mentally, not just the team fit and getting acclimated with your weapons, but there's a difference between practice and the game. And the fact that he's not going to play in any preseason games after suffering such a devastating knee injury, it is going to, don't expect him to come out there in 2019 LSU light it up right away. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, and I'm not saying a bunch, but to trust that knee, to get acclimated to his new weapons, his new surroundings, new plays. So don't panic on Joe Burrow early. You know, it would be nice to see him in these games getting some action, but ultimately probably the smart thing to do with the player coming off of such a devastating knee injury is not to expose him to unnecessary risks. So as much as I would love to see Burrow play tonight, it ain't going to happen. So Jamar Chase, excited to see this talented rookie wide receiver. We saw DeVonta Smith last night. We get Jamar Chase this evening. What are you looking forward to? For me, there's nothing that I'm really like looking forward to, right? Like in the game last night, you wanted to see Cam Mack. You wanted to see how DeVonta Smith looks. You wanted to see Jalen Hurts and if Rager can transition practices to the game. But in this one, I think I'll just watch the game. Like, I want to see Rondale Moore. I want to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But I kind of know what Chase is. I know what Higgins is. I know what Boyd is. We know what Mixon is. We know what like, I'm just going to watch the game. But there's nothing that I'm like pulling and gravitating me, like riveting storylines or narratives inside this game. What do you think?
No, and I think you nailed it, man. Like, we know who Chase is, and I don't think I need to see much of him. I mean, if he does something awesome, great. If he doesn't, I'm kind of excited to see how that trio looks all together a little bit longer. But the problem is, without Joe Burrow, they're not much of anything, really. Like, we don't know what the backup's going to do, and with Joe Burrow, if he's healthy and he's ready to go, like, it elevates that offense to another level. And like we've talked about before on previous shows and stuff, LSU was really run by Joe Burrow. Like, it wasn't run by the talent. The talent didn't dictate the offense. It was Joe Burrow dictating that offense. And so all of them together is going to be the necessary thing to happen for it to be as great as we hope it can be. So without Burrow, I don't think it can be anything special. It'll probably be fine. And that's probably why the football team is favored. I don't think Curtis Samuel is going to play. I was just looking. He came off the PUP 4 days ago. So just coming off the PUP, I doubt we see him. Gibson we saw last week. We'll probably see some more Terry McLaurin, probably see some more Fitzpatrick. I don't know, man. Like, I don't really care so much. Less exciting as far as I'm concerned. And I think I'm more excited to kind of dive into the weekend games and see who we get to see this weekend and kind of hopefully see some really good games from that slate as well.
Well, let's dive into it. So we've got Buffalo versus Chicago. Chicago's -4.5. Another opportunity to see Justin Fields, who to me was the rookie quarterback of the week in preseason week 1. And he's probably going to play with some starters. I don't know if A-Rob is going to play, but I know Darnell Mooney was in last game. I know Cole Kmet was playing last game. It'd be nice to see A-Rob on the field to get some work with Fields, but he really doesn't need it, right? So it's Justin Fields. And then on the other side of the ball for Buffalo, no Josh Allen. Stephon Diggs will not play, and apparently he's not practicing right now, but they hope to get him back next week. So we get a little more Mitchell Trubisky and whoever the hell else played after Mitch. Justin Fields, like, that's what I want to see. That's all I care about in this one is Justin Fields.
Yeah, it's all Justin Fields. So Doug McDermott said that more of the starters probably aren't going to play, especially the more experienced players on Buffalo. So it'll be kind of the same old story as last week for Buffalo. We're not going to see much. Mitch Trubisky a little bit. But then I do hope to see Justin Fields with the starters a little bit. Nagy did say that the starters will play some more, so we'll probably see some more David Montgomery, which would be good. I am curious to see kind of how he's used. Whether or not we see Fields with the starters, I don't know. And yeah, like you said about A-Rob, we're not entirely sure about his status. But I hope we see some more Montgomery, some Mooney, and potentially even Fields with that first-team offense. but that may be Nagy doing a little bit too much for the media to say, okay, maybe I'm nudging him to start. And so I don't think we do see that, but I hope so. We at least see the starters kind of into the second quarter and beyond, where I think they only got one series last game. So I'm hoping to see a little bit more from them.
Yeah. It's Justin Fields. I mean, that's all we really care about in this one. It's Justin Fields, and hopefully he can connect a deep ball to Darnell Mooney. That would be fun, and get the Twitter sphere just going nuts, right?
Light it on fire.
Jets versus the Packers. The Packers sat out 40%, 50% of their damn team last week, and I don't expect a lot of those guys to play again. I don't know if we're going to get Aaron Jones, Robert Tonyan, no Adams, no Rodgers. I don't know if Jair Alexander and Smith. I don't know who's going to play for the Green Bay Packers. So ultimately, I don't really care. We get to see a little more Kylan Hill, I guess. Amari Rodgers a little bit. I'm not watching for that. It's Zach Wilson. It's the Jets. It's Zach Wilson, Michael Carter, Corey Davis. It's watching what the Jets do. And right now, I mean, it just sucks because Elijah Moore was like the talk of the NFL to start training camp, and now he's been sidelined. So he's out. Elijah Vera Tucker is out. So it's for me, like, I'm not like excited to watch the Jets, but I am excited to see how Zach Wilson looks in his second preseason action.
Yeah, and that's the main story, right? It's Zach Wilson. How does he look? Can he make some more spectacular throws? This is what we want to see from Zach Wilson. That's why you want to tune in, because what is he going to do next? He gets those Aaron Rodgers crazy throws, all types of platforms, types of comps, and that's what I want to see. That's why I'm going to be tuning in. You're right. Elijah Moore not playing sucks. He's still dealing with his quad injury, and then Vera Tucker's not playing either. The Jets did say they're hoping to get them back next week, and the Jets did just lose Carl Lawson to a torn Achilles after paying him 3 years, $45 million this offseason, so their defense took a hit a few days ago. But again, it's the Zach Wilson show. Packers aren't going to show much. Jets favored by 2.5, and I think I'd be happy to take that number. But I guess we will see some Jordan Love. Are you intrigued by Jordan Love at all?
Yeah, I guess Jordan Love. Yeah, Jordan Love. Yeah, right? Good call. Jordan Love, good call. Yeah, I mean, I think he had some really good moments last game, and this is the lowest implied total scoring matchup of the weekend at 31.5. Like, no other team is projected to score lower. No other teams are projected to score lower than 33 points this weekend. So this might be a slow burn, but we have to watch for Jordan Love and Zach Wilson. Now, one that is a little more exciting, and I'm praying we get a little more this weekend, is Atlanta versus Miami. Kyle Pitts. Is Pitts going to play? Are we going to get our first taste of Kyle Pitts? Matt Ryan, Mike Davis, don't know, not sure, haven't looked it up. But then Tua on the offensive side of the ball. Tua, Mike Gesicki. What is this running back rotation going to look like with Miles Gaskin? And it's Gaskin, not Gaskins. Every time I see people say putting an S at the end of it, it just pisses me. It's Miles Gaskin with an N, no S. Gaskin, Malcolm Brown, Savon Ahmed, Jalen Waddle. Is he going to get more involved in the passing attack? And then, again, Kyle Pitts. No reports yet on the Falcons starters playing that we've seen. Got to monitor the running back situation for the Dolphins. Is there anything else that I'm missing out from this matchup? Miami, -5 in the game, favorite.
I take Miami. The Falcons, Arthur Smith's just, he's just a pain in the ass, man.
I'm just saying I'm not taking the spread. I don't feel comfortable taking the spread in any of these games. Like, yesterday, Philly was -1.5, and they got trounced by.
No. They were plus. New England was favored. New England was favored.
Okay.
But they did get stomped.
Plus 11.5, and it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, they got their ass kicked. I'm just sidebar. I just don't feel comfortable betting the spread.
Is playing. Like, Xavier Howard is playing, so he's talking about how he's going to play. He's excited to kind of get in some game action. So we'll see. Like, I expect Miami to win pretty handily, but we also don't know what's going on with Atlanta. Like, last week, nobody played. This team was the fourth worst team in the NFL, and no one was playing. What's up with that? Like, I don't know. So we saw Calvin Ridley, 8-second routes. I forget who he ran that route on, but that was all.
I think it was Xavier Howard. It was Howard.
That was the funniest thing I saw all week, because everyone's like, no one would ever have that much time. And then I'm just thinking to myself, especially with that Falcons O-line being so terrible. Yeah. But either way, hopefully we see some Ridley, some Matt Ryan. Please, God, Kyle Pitts. He needs some game action. But I'm not expecting a whole lot. We can kind of move forward with the next game. I believe next game was Baltimore, right?
Yeah,
Baltimore and Carolina.
Yeah, Baltimore, Carolina. Yeah, man.
And again, Harbaugh will not say if Lamar is playing. We're not going to see Bateman because he's still hurt. Outside of that, we'll probably see some J.K. Dobbins, but I'm not overly intrigued by Baltimore. They have those championship aspirations. They're not going to be risking too many players, but we will see Darnold. We will see DJ Moore. We're not going to see Robbie Anderson because of his hamstring injury, but we should see some Christian McCaffrey. I couldn't find any clear reports on him, but Darnold and DJ Moore will definitely be in game action. CMC, he doesn't really need to play, but he may get a few reps every now and then. But yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, I think I'm more excited for the Carolina side because I want to see how our boy Sam Darnold does in his first game action in that Joe A. We gotta endorse him now. I actually drafted him in a league yesterday as QB 27.
Got you some Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Is this a redraft league? Redraft league or dynasty?
Yeah, it's a redraft league. Redraft.
Okay. So one of the comments, Mark says, "Do people bet on preseason?" Sounds like a really random dice throw. Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. People bet on everybody was cash. Week 1, everybody hit. Like if you just picked outside of Philly, Pittsburgh, if you took the under, you were like golden. Like I'm seeing 8-team parlays hit, 10-team parlays hit. People cashing out. People absolutely bet on the preseason. I'm with you though. I don't know. Baltimore. It's starting to seem like kind of, I don't know what's going on. I mean, prayers up for Mark Andrews. I heard, he had some issues with, I don't know if it was cramping, dehydration, but we also know he's got some other, health-related things going on. Lamar Jackson, his second bout with COVID. Rashad Bateman hurt. I think I saw Sammy Watkins is hurt again. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Marlon Humphrey, the cornerback, slipped. He got hurt. Baltimore's probably going to bubble wrap everybody. I know we're talking about Lamar. I don't know, man. We probably see Trace McSorley roll out there and play a little bit more. For me, it's looking at the Carolina side of the ball. And you said Robbie Anderson's not playing, but we do get Terrace Marshall. Terrace Marshall's going to be on the field. Is CMC playing? Did you say CMC is in or out? Do you know?
I couldn't find any reports about CMC, but I did see for sure Robbie was out. Sam Darnold definitely going to play. DJ Moore should play. And then we'll see. And then I do want to see if we see some J.C. Horn too. Right?
Yeah.
Like I want to watch him a little bit more because the first game he played a little bit. I want to see a bit more and see how he played because that's the dude I think is the X factor for that defense. They drafted him high, so there's some high expectations for him, and I think there is a pretty good shot he can deliver on that.
Well, J.C. Horn, also Chuba Hubbard and P.J. Walker. Let's not forget about P.J. Walker, who put together a really impressive first preseason game. So that's Baltimore, Carolina, and then we've got Detroit versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh favored by 6.5. Big Ben is playing, right? Big Ben is going to play. Big Ben, check down God. Check down. It's so funny. Ben will check down to the running backs and YOLO it deep. Like I just love Ben Roethlisberger. He just doesn't give a damn. I love how he plays. I'm glad he's playing. We're going to see all the wide receivers have been playing since the Hall of Fame game. So everybody besides Chase Claypool, who got injured in practice, should be on the field. Feel good about that. More Najee Harris. Let's continue to see him integrated into the offense. And then on the Detroit side of the ball, I'm actually excited to watch this offense a little bit. Jared Goff looks sharp and solid in his first preseason action. We saw him distribute the ball all over the place. Amon-Ra St. Brown. DeAndre Swift returned to practice, probably not going to play. If I have DeAndre Swift in fantasy, I would not be concerned about Jamal Williams. I think he's just a guy, man. Williams is Williams. That's what he is. That's what he's going to be. But it's just kind of seeing how these other offensive pieces around the Detroit Lions fit together. Penny Sewell, we saw him get welcomed to the NFL by Gregory Rousseau playing on the right side of that offensive line. So I want to see a big block from Penny Sewell. I think that would be fun to see. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, more Jared Goff, and then the Pittsburgh Steelers offense kind of doing their thing. Excited about that as well, Jay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game, honestly. Like, I'm happy to see Big Ben. We'll see some more Dwayne Haskins. Hopefully Mason Rudolph doesn't play too much. And like you said, Jared Goff. We're not going to see DeAndre Swift. He just returned to practice dealing with his injury. But, he's slowly working back, trying to get ready for week 1. We'll see some Penei Sewell, right? Some more of him. And kind of see if maybe that defense can do something against what we view as a pretty potent offense. I don't know how much of Ben we're going to see, but he did say he was going to play. And so I'm excited, man. I think it'll be a really good game. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. Like you said, we see the spread 6.5. I kind of like that. It's a big number, but man, Pittsburgh's been looking okay. Like even their backup quarterbacks are putting up numbers. It's interesting. Like, I don't know how Detroit's going to do. The spread is pretty high, though. Like, that's a whole touchdown.
Yeah,
But
that's
that defense,
a lot.
and then have you seen anything about the defense with TJ Watt? And I don't know if
No, I haven't seen it.
anyone, I don't think anyone's going to play.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I think they should play, but the question is how long, right? A quarter, a half. But let's move on to the Texans Cowboys, and we will be brief here. It's just about the Dallas Cowboys. No Dak Prescott, but all the other offensive starters are going to play. CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott, that offensive line, Micah Parsons on the defensive side of the ball. Houston, I guess Davis Mills, Nico, Lindsey. And let's move on. It's the Dallas Cowboys. We got the Titans and the Bucks. Antonio Brown was thrown out of practice. I mean, the fact that he connected on that punch amidst the chaos and somebody captured that photo is incredible. But, Mr. Toe Tap Tony himself, Potato Gang, Antonio Brown, causing a little ruckus at practice. But for me, it's football. That shit happens. Oh, well, he's going to be one of the favorite targets to Tom Brady. All the Bucks played in the first preseason game, so I expect them to play a little bit more in this one. Not sure what the Titans are going to do. Probably Derrick Henry on ice, Julio Jones on ice, A.J. Brown on ice. If those guys aren't playing, and even if they are, we know what they are. There's nothing I really want to see outside of the backups for Tampa Bay, Jalen Darden, the rookie wide receiver. I want to see O.J. Howard get a little more action. How does Kyle Trask look if he plays? And then Keyshawn Vaughn, Leonard Fournette, Gio Bernard, some of those running backs. But outside of that, nothing really riveting from this Titans-Buccaneers game.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, I don't think we're going to expect a whole lot. The other guy is Tyler Johnson, right? The kind of backup for Chris Godwin that we all like out of Minnesota. But I haven't seen anything about Tennessee, whether or not Tannehill's going to play and all those guys. I could see them sitting again. There's no reason for them to play. They know who they are and what that offense is. So I think we can kind of just move on from them. The Bucs are great. Titans, we'll see.
Well, let's just run through the rest of the game. So we have the Colts, Vikings, Raiders, Rams, Broncos, Seahawks, Giants, Browns, 49ers, Chargers, and Jacksonville, New Orleans. Which one of these games really stands out to you? That's something that you want to watch, a narrative, a storyline that you're excited for. And it's funny, Mark in the chat said, Mills sell period approaching. Yeah, if Davis Mills looks good tonight, I'd be trying to move him if I have him on a fantasy team. But from these other games, which one or two are you really, really kind of honed in on and excited to watch?
I think it has to be San Fran and LA. Even though we know Herbert's not going to play, got to watch Trey Lance. Dude's been watch TV. And then you look at the Jags and the Saints. Trevor Lawrence, of course, on the one side, and then the stupid Saints quarterback situation on the other side. Like, who knows, man, what they're going to do, but you kind of have to watch to see that train wreck unfold. But it's all Trey Lance for sure on the one side, and then definitely Trevor Lawrence and the Saints quarterbacks on the other side. Maybe a little Alvin Kamara if we're lucky too.
Yeah, so for me, I'm right there with you, and they play on Sunday night, so that's going to be fun. I think we all get to watch that game. I just want to see Trey Lance. I want to see Trey Lance, and I kind of want to see a little Larry Roundtree from the Los Angeles Chargers. I want to see a little Larry Roundtree. Can he push for that number 2 job in Los Angeles behind Austin Eckler? He looked good last week. And then the Cleveland Browns, man. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I am in love with this kid, Donovan Peoples-Jones. I'm excited to watch the Cleveland Browns game. For me, Rams, Raiders. I just want to see if Tutu Atwell can put together another solid, at least looking performance. But the big one for me is the Monday night game, and it's Jacksonville, New Orleans. It's Trevor. That team is just so fascinating. Like, from Urban Meyer, the Tim Tebow stuff, the running back situation. Do we get more Travis Etienne in the game? What's James Robinson's going to look like? And then how much is Carlos Hyde just going to piss us off from the backfield, especially for in fantasy football, right? Like, I want to see, because there are a lot of bullish and aggressive rushing totals for Travis Etienne when we get into the Jacksonville team breakdown. And I think people should temper those expectations for him. But excited about the Jacksonville-New Orleans game. You touched on it already. Taysom, Jameis, what's going to happen there? Or are we going to get it a little Alvin Kamara? I'm not really sure, but that's the Monday night game. And I think T-Law is going to want to put on a performance. We're probably going to see him play at least the whole first quarter. It'd be nice to see him go the entire first half. Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault. I'm excited. The fact that we're saying we're excited to watch the Jacksonville Jaguars that just say what you want. That's the enthusiasm that when you have a franchise-changing quarterback, that's what they bring to that's what he brings to the table. So Trevor Lawrence, New Orleans Saints, Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm excited for that Monday Night Football matchup. Anything else? Just broad stroke takeaways from this slate of preseason games this weekend.
So the only other game that we didn't even bother touching on is Saturday night. I want to see what happens with Drew Lock. I'm expecting to see a lot more of that Denver offense, and they did start against Minnesota. Big cock lock. You know, you got to just say it with your chest when you talk about Drew Lock.
Yeah.
Because it's still, as far as I'm concerned, it's still a quarterback battle. It is Drew Lock's job today, but there's definitely a world where Teddy Bridgewater could win that job at any time. When I was looking at projections all off season, I was seeing a lot of people, and I kind of agreed with it. And you see kind of Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock, 50-50. They start, one starts 9 games, one starts 8 games, somewhere in the middle. We don't really know. It's still an open competition, but they got Jerry Jeudy. They got Cortland Sutton. They got KJ Hamler going for 80-yard bombs. They got Noah Fan. They got Albert Okiwani-Boonwam. I don't even know how to say his last name properly. Sorry, Albert. I'll get it right one day. Javonte Williams. Maybe we see Melvin Gordon.
Oh, Javonte,
there's just so many people. There's so many people on that offense. And outside of that, I don't know. Then as well, we might see DK Metcalf, Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. So Saturday night, maybe tune in. There's a lot of interesting storylines and a lot of exciting players we're hoping to see for fantasy and just in general this season.
Dude, the weapons that Denver has, I mean,
go get Aaron Rodgers.
If it's Drew Lock, and I think they want it to be Drew Lock, and I think for us, we want it to be Drew Lock because he has the big arm. He can push the ball downfield and really utilize the strength of those weapons. KJ Hamler, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams. When you just look at it from a talent perspective, I don't know how many teams have the type of weaponry that Denver has offensively. I mean, they're just – when you're stacked on the outside at your 2 bookend wide receivers, you got a dynamic slot, then your tight end is more athletic than 90% of the wide receivers in the NFL, and then you hit them with Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams out of the backfield. Patrick Surtain – Denver – If it ain't happening, if they had Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson, the future's bright in Denver with those young guys. So I personally think it's Drew Lock's job. I think they want him to be the guy. I think he should, because of his skill set. Answer the damn call, Drew Lock. Go be the guy. Be the guy so you can score me some fantasy points. Jerry Jeudy is just an ankle-breaking, route-running machine. I know there was he took a lot of heat pre-draft that his knees bend in. I don't care. I don't care if his knees bent backwards as long as he can run the type of routes that he can run. That was a good call. Denver versus Seattle. I don't expect that we see much of anything out of Seattle. Pete Carroll, you just never know, man. But, Jay, another week in the books, man. Feels like we're getting in a groove. I'm enjoying it, man. I love the comments and the people in the chat that join us live. But before we get out of here, I just want to say one thing. In this space, in this football betting space, this fantasy football space, a lot of times there's competition, right? This company versus this company, this guy versus that guy, this girl versus that girl. When in reality, man, we're all just here to have fun, enjoying a game that none of us are skilled enough to play on our own, and just provide analysis from our viewpoint. So it's not about competition. It's not about putting other people down. And I just want to give a huge just shout out, show much love and heavy prayers to Fantasy Pros own Mike Tagliere, who's been in the hospital dealing with issues with COVID. I, too, had to go through that myself, and luckily for me, I did not end up in the hospital, but I can empathize and feel for, what he's going through right now. So no, Mike probably isn't waking up and checking out the show, but if y'all know him, add him, let him know that we're thinking about him. Get well soon, brother, and we'll see you back on the camera and mic very soon. But for all of y'all out there, thank you for tapping in with us. Jay and I appreciate it. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. If you wake up a little late and you missed the show, Download it. Apple, Spotify, everywhere you listen to the show. Subscribe to the podcast, rate and review it, sub to the YouTube channel, and stay tapped in. We'll be back next week with more Wake Up. Enjoy football. Y'all be safe. Have a good one. We out, man. Peace.